Right, so we have Ben Kelly, a Liverpool fan and a football analyst, pundit, guru, whatever you like. Welcome to Tikki Talks. Thank you for taking the time out. As a fellow Liverpool fan, Ben, this is quite a depressing this has been quite a depressing few weeks. Watching the celebrations after Liverpool won the League Cup in February, it was impossible not to get a bit caught up in the emotions of it all. Not just the emotions of the day, but the emotions of what the last few months of Jurgen Klopp era could hold for us fans. Especially after he announced his departure from Liverpool in January. We were still competing for a possible quadruple, still in the FA Cup, Europa League, top of the league, Premier League. All four trophies were unlikely, but it did look like Klopp would be going out with some glory, right? And all of that just seems to have collapsed in the last few weeks, and it would now make it would just take a miracle now for Liverpool to end the season with more than just the League Cup. It would take Arsenal and City dropping points, which doesn't sound possible now. So but just merely winning one League Cup, one trophy in his final season, it's not a disaster, and it won't make anyone think less of Jurgen Klopp in years to come. After what he's achieved, he'll still be remembered as the man who brought our first league title, in 30 years, in 3 decades. Still the one manager who won our 6th Champions League, and still be the man who made us fans feel things. He's the daddy here at Liverpool Football Club. But my question to you is Liverpool's slump down to Klopp's announcement? Was it too early? Did it affect players instead of motivating them? How do you look at this?
I mean, you've painted the picture quite depressingly there. Yeah, of course, it's not, and the season isn't ending the way that we all would have liked it to. Look, I think the perception of how this season has ended from a fan perspective has been skewed by Klopp's announcement. I don't think the drop off in form since the international break has been to do with the Klopp announcement, to be honest, because I think Klopp announces his departure on the 26th of January, and Liverpool go on to win 10 of the next 12 games. So I don't think it has anything directly to do with that. I think this is something that overall is unrelated, and I think that if Klopp wasn't leaving at the end of the season, we'd all be sat here now going, well, we're going to finish in the Champions League places. We've won a domestic cup, with pretty much a brand new midfield. We've had, countless injuries in the middle of the season as well. We'd all be quite optimistic. We'd be disappointed, obviously, but it wouldn't feel quite as catastrophic as it is now. And that's because the manager is leaving. So I think those things are two separate things. Do I think that the drop off in form has been caused by Klopp's announcement? No, I don't. Does it feel worse because a manager that for the last 9 years has been, brilliant for us and he's leaving? Does it feel worse because of that? Yes, it probably does. But I still think that a new manager coming in the summer with kind of fresh ideas and with this squad that is in a very good position compared to where it was a year ago, I still think there's plenty of reasons to be optimistic going into next season.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Well, I mean, now it's all, ending in a bit of a mess, further strengthened by this argument between Klopp and Mohamed Salah during the draw with West Ham, at the weekend. Mohamed Salah is the defining Jurgen Klopp signing, of his era, of his reign at time Liverpool. He's a scorer of over 200 goals, a man who will definitely rank alongside King Kenny, Ian Rush, Stevie G, and even Roger Hunt as the greatest in Liverpool's history. I think he's our leading Champions League goal scorer. Without him, without Mohamed Salah, Klopp's time at Liverpool would have looked very different. Yeah. So even with all that mind, Salah deserves to be on the bench. At the moment because of his current form. He's not the only player. He's not the only Liverpool player in bad form. Let's put that out as well. But has the Salah Klopp bust up? These are two giant figures in Liverpool's modern history, over the last 7, 8 years. These two coming together, the videos, the footage, the narrative on Twitter, X wasn't nice to see, right? And then Salah's comments in the mixed zone, if I speak, there will be fire. Those weren't great as well. So what do you think? I mean, in the last 12, 13 hours, it has been developed. This development story has come that Salah might stay. David Ornstein, one of the most reliable journalists in the football fraternity, is saying Mohamed Salah just might stay. He wants to extend his contract, and Liverpool are also, hopeful that that's a good thing. But I also read your tweet on Mohamed Salah on not being fully fit. What do you have to say about all that?
I think that, well, that's just a hypothesis. I think Mo Salah is the type of player who wants to play every game, and obviously that's been demonstrated by him being unhappy about not being in the starting lineup. And traditionally over the last 7 years since we signed Mo, he has been fit pretty much every week. He missed one game away at Man United in the title winning season, and then obviously he picked up the injury against Real Madrid in the final, and he was devastated to go off in Kiev. So this isn't a player who's used to being injured. He's well built, and he plays through. I presume he's had little knocks here and there over the last 7 years, and his mental attitude is to play through them. So when you pick up an injury, when you're used to doing that, and then you pick up a real injury, like a one where you're out for 2 or 3 months, one that causes you to miss the back end of your country's AFCON campaign, a country that pins so much of their hopes on him, and all the kind of the media storm in the Egyptian media that went down at the time about him returning to Liverpool and all that kind of noise that creates. He'd have been desperate to get back. He came back too early. He played away at Brentford and he got injured again. Look, who am I? I'm not a doctor. I'm not dealing with Mo Salah, so I don't know if that's truly the case. But the way it looks to me is that maybe he's just lacking a little bit of match sharpness after coming back from that injury, and that has been the cause of his loss of form. And I think that given a full pre-season, given a new manager that will have some fresh ideas. Bear in mind, obviously not just the case for Salah, but the case for the whole squad is that all they've ever known is Klopp, and Pep Linders and his other backroom staff. Some fresh ideas. I think will do him good. I do believe that he will stay this summer personally, because I don't think the Saudi project appeals to him as much as most people think it would. Obviously, he would be paid ridiculous amounts of money over there, and he would be the face of the project. But I don't think those things are important to him. I think he'd be more likely to go to somewhere like PSG, where he'll still be competing and playing in the Champions League, for instance. I think that the competitiveness of his football is what matters to him. So yeah, I think a bit of a rest and a reset for him this summer, and I think he'll be back at it again when it comes to August.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope he stays, because or do you reckon we sell him, because it's a catch-22 position right now. Should we cash in on him? He's in the last year of his contract, or do we keep him?
I wouldn't sell him. I wouldn't sell him.
Right, because he is a goal scorer. How do you find a definite goal scorer? He doesn't just score goals. He creates goals as well. If you look at his some of the balls, some of the potential assists he could have had were against Man City, which Luis Diaz, he had an open goal. and he just missed it. Some of the we wouldn't be having this discussion if Darwin Nunez could have finished some of his chances. Then Salah's numbers would look really good. His assists, his goals, some Salah has missed as well. But yeah, so we don't sell him, right? What do you say to the people who are saying we should cash in on him and have a large war chest for Arne Slot and buy new players, rebuild? We will need a rebuild though, right?
I don't think there's a right or wrong answer on it. I think I trust Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes, who obviously have just come back into the club, to make the right call on it. My opinion is that I think there are other areas of the pitch that probably need more focus, particularly at centre back this summer. Obviously, the holding midfielder is something that we've managed to patch for a year, but we still probably need a world class player in that position. And I think that if you then sell effectively your best goal scorer, you're gonna add more issues to address in the summer. So I think if you can keep hold of him this year, negotiate a contract on whatever terms, to be honest. I mean, people go on about the money all the time with Salah and he's earning too much. I don't really care how much he's earning. It's not my money. So negotiate a contract on whatever terms that the club and the player deem acceptable, and then I'd keep hold of him for at least another year.
Yeah, because we need at least an elite DM, right? A defensive midfielder, because however good Wataru Endo is, he is a little warrior, right? He is a little samurai, but he's not elite. He's 31, 32 years old. We need an elite DM. We need Matip also, leaving at the end of the season. We need a center back, because Konate and Joe Gomez are made of glass. Although Joe Gomez has had a pretty good season, he's been covering for us at right back, at center back, at left back, even in the midfield. So yeah, we need all these signings. Plus, we need to bolster our attacking options, our forward line. So let's just talk about Arne Slot right now, right? Can you talk to us? Tell us about him, his philosophy, his attacking style, his playing style, his formations. Who is he?
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously another big personality that Liverpool, a lot of fans may not have heard of a week ago. I must admit, I'd only heard of him last summer when obviously Tottenham were in negotiations for him before Stalian's Postecoglou. Yeah, look, he's again another big personality. He's clearly another man motivator, and I think what Edwards and Hughes have tried to identify is sort of a continuation / somebody who can build upon what Klopp is and what Klopp does. And they had that choice to make when they both arrived back at the club. It's obviously 9 years since Liverpool last appointed a manager. They could have opted to go for something completely different, which is what Ruben Amorim sounded like he would have been, or they could have opted to find somebody who was a continuation of what Klopp is, and I think that suits both the manager and the current set of players, because I think for Slot, the underlying numbers between his final side and this Liverpool team this year are incredibly close when you look at the statistics deep it down, even down to things like the aerial duel success rate and things like this. The teams play in quite a similar way. And I think that will help Slots, because I think there'll be a group of players who are accustomed to a lot of the ideas that he will want to get across, or it won't be like a complete change in direction for them, and that will help him communicate his ideas. And that also helps the players, because they're not getting a manager who is going to take them and their playing style in a totally different direction to what they've been doing for the last however many years under Jurgen. So I think if on paper it looks like Edwards and Hughes have made a smart decision. I think you can always judge, a manager based on how devastated fans of his current club are to lose him. And I spoke to a Feyenoord fan yesterday who was telling me that He's the best coach in Holland at the moment, and Liverpool. You couldn't see a way that Arne Slot can fail at Liverpool because he's such a great guy, and he's the real deal. So they can't speak highly enough about him. So again, when it comes to the top players in the squad, the Van Dijks, the Salahs, the Alissons, the Trent Alexander-Arnolds,
Gakpo,
hopefully,
Gabriel.
I think, yeah, and I think, well, no, but I mean more the players that you could be worried about going. Hopefully, Slot can come in with the personality that he has and the philosophy that is seemingly quite similar to Jurgen's, and show them that they will get just as much success playing under him as they did under Klopp.
Two things about Arne Slot. His communication, he uses his word very carefully, and he is renowned. He's known to be like molding players, right, from different positions. His current left back is a great center back as well. He's taken players out from the right wing position into the midfield position. Do you think we can finally see Trent Alexander-Arnold in the midfield role, in the right midfield role, as we all want to see?
I think that there certainly has to be a decision made on that, because I don't think that the inverted fullback system is working as much for us. I think at this point, a manager needs to look at that and make a decision, whether or not to push him into midfield or not, or whether just revert him to the way that we used to play, the traditional right back role. I think the risk is far greater than the reward that we're seeing, and I know part of that is down to the fact that Trent's been injured, but Joe Gomez has done it a little bit in his absence, but Calvin Ramsey didn't really, and Calvin Ramsey was playing really well before he got injured and while Trent was out. So I think that I think the decision will have to be made, and I think of either of them. I don't know if I see Trent in midfield. I think his defensive work has been improved, and I think if I was going to do either, I would play him as more of a conventional right back. And get him on the ball as much as possible, just as we used to.
Right, Ben, last question. I know you've got to go. So I was reading this stat. You would only need to change just 4 results in Klopp's 487 games, to turn 1 Premier League title into 3 Premier League titles and 1 Champions League into 3 Champions Leagues, right? And we've lost those just by margins. John Stones save. Plus this season we've been pretty shit. But we've had shit luck, right? We've had the Luis Diaz goal disallowed against the Spurs, and Gakpo not being allowed to score a goal, as versus West Ham just recently. Martin Odegaard was allowed to play basketball in Liverpool's half, and Doku of City Sparta kicking McAllister in the ribs. So the corruption is off the scale. But how do you view Klopp's legacy?
Look, I think 9 years is a long time to be a football manager now in one post, and I think obviously that in a way shows you how successful he's been. I think his legacy is that I'm not sure any manager in my lifetime will connect with the Liverpool fans as a manager and a man as much as Klopp did. Liverpool is a city that wears their heart on their sleeve and really stands up for what they believe in, and Klopp just bought into that so much. He just knew always the right thing to say at the right time, in terms of football, but things bigger than football as well. He's had his say on Brexit. He's had his say on elections. He was very he was very vocal during COVID about certain issues that were going on in the world at the time, and I couldn't think of kind of a better person, going through all those kind of big events as somebody growing up in the UK, and growing up a Liverpool fan. And then also alongside that, as everybody does over the course of 9 years, having your own personal issues to work through, I couldn't think of anybody better really to have had in charge. And as a constant figure while there's so much change going on in life. And I think that will be his legacy. He is that figure for so many people. Jurgen Klopp arrived at Liverpool when I was doing my A levels, and I was 16. Now I'm 25. I've been through university. I've moved countries. I've been through the pandemic. I've seen all this stuff. But Liverpool and Klopp and that team were what remained throughout all of that. And I think that's the legacy that he leaves. Not only the way that obviously on the pitch he's brought Liverpool back, from a really tough position. He's rebuilt the squad. He's taken them to be European champions, English champions again after so long. But everybody who lived through this period will tell their kids and grandkids about Jurgen Klopp. I probably won't tell them as much about Brendan Rodgers. And I think that that without no disrespect to Brendan, that's just the impact that somebody like Klopp has on the club and then you as a person as well. So yeah, obviously we're all gonna really miss him.
To put it into context, our starting lineup when Klopp was there, when Klopp arrived, were Balotelli, Barini, and Lambert. We had Joe Allen in the midfield. So yeah, Ben Kelly, thank you so much for talking to us, taking time out. Really appreciate it, mate. Have a good one.
No problem. Have a good day, mate. Thank you. See you later.
Thank you so much.